Three, two, one, go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Triad of the Forest podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd related media. This is our Mando Monday reaction and analysis episode. Today, we will be discussing Chapter 11, The Heiress. And I really think
Heiress.
I should mention before, we actually get started when the title first came up, I thought it was the frog lady, that she was going to turn out to be like this secret
The
royalty
royal.
leader of like the frog people or something. Because
That
I
would
saw
have been
Eris.
amazing.
And it would have made sense. We already had
It would have made
froggish royalty with Jar Jar Binks and the whole. So
sense.
there,
True.
And I mean,
But
it's like a connection episode. You're doing kind of an arc. You started with Frog Lady like the first
Yes.
time, and you're
Yeah.
making this big deal about her bringing the end of her line, and then you see the Heiress, and it's like yes, it's Frog
which,
Lady
inter-
royalty.
which,
Frog
which
lady.
interestingly, to that point, like I thought they were based on last episode. I thought they were going to build on Frog Lady way more than they ended up doing in this episode. I mean, we
Mhm.
might get more of her in the future, but honestly, I thought we would get more. But before going into any more analysis and reactions
Mhm.
to this episode, I just want to point out to anyone that's listening to, as you know, we have our regular Wednesday episodes
Mhm.
that have nothing to do with Mando.
Mhm.
They're we're this time we have Brian from Pink Milk coming on, and it was
Mhm.
such an amazing episode. We haven't edited anything, but I think it's going to be our longest episode yet, and
Yeah.
for a good reason. It was an amazing chat. It was happy
So,
and joyful and emotional.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot to talk
Yeah.
about. Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a good one for everyone to keep an eye out for. So please make sure to listen to that one.
Yeah.
And with
Yes.
that, let's keep going with our Mando reaction. So,
Yeah.
Frog Lady. What a
Yeah.
great
Lady.
scene of her reuniting
Reunion.
with Frog Man.
It was so emotional. I mean, it
Mhm.
speaks volumes of how they've made these alien characters more important and more human and more relatable. I mean, I almost cried when they actually found each other. You hear her like calling out, and then you hear him calling out and him being like kind of lost. And then when they see each other,
Yeah.
Just like
it's such a beautiful moment, and it talks again to how well it's shot. The
Mhm.
acting, the animatronics, the
yes.
conveying of these human emotions in a completely alien looking face.
Yeah, you'd never think that a frog would be so sweet.
I
Yes.
know, it was beautiful.
Which
But
It
speaks
was
but
to Misty Rosa's acting
yeah,
to be
yeah,
able to, just with body language convey that
yep.
emotional
Hmm.
aspect of it. It's just
Yeah,
chef's kiss.
I
Amazing.
have spoken.
Yes.
it kind of reflects the other episode. Like you can see the arc
Mhm.
on the because on the
Yeah.
first one it's Baby Yoda running, kind of like hugging because it's
Mhm.
afraid it's been hurt.
Hmm.
Here's the other way around. It's like they're coming back. They're just both
Yeah,
running with their hands open.
hands open. Yeah,
But
very
it's a
beautiful.
different. It's a very different approach. It's
Yeah,
oh, I missed you. I loved you. Like
Mhm.
we're back together after clearly I went to the worst Uber ride I could have picked up.
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Well, and back to the horrible Uber drive. I mean, you have them
Mhm.
leaving the planet on a barely limping
Yep.
ship. And then I like pointing out because Jin's ship has always reminded me of the Serenity from
Mhm.
Firefly. And especially in this episode when you see it like losing parts,
Yeah.
like the Serenity usually does, it really looked like it. And then you have the first view of the planet, and it really does look like Von Cal, like everybody thought it was gonna be.
Yes. Or Camino, but
Or
we failed
Camino.
on
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah. Which is great. I love seeing new planets.
I'm glad. I'm
True.
glad.
True.
I
You
mean,
know,
it's
and
a
then
huge
it did.
galaxy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then
True. True.
you still have in the planet like the major species seem to be Mon
Yes.
Calamari and Corn as
Yes.
Yeah.
well. So and then
But
you
a
have
little fun fact though before I keep going, since you mentioned the ship re-entering the
oh yeah, because
atmosphere
I'm gonna
and
talk
broken
about like
down.
when they land and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
looks like a perfect landing and then they go and
And
fall
just
into the
throw the
water.
door, which was hilarious.
Yeah,
But the
it
cool
was
thing about
great.
that
I know.
scene, the,
Mhm.
the cool thing about that scene, and it's confirmed by the director Bryce Dallas Howard, that it was an homage to one of her father's earlier films, Apollo 13. So if you look at that scene, and look at it side by side with the reentry scene of the capsules in Apollo 13 going back into the Earth,
Yeah.
it's a match. So amazing little
I
callback. It's a fun little
Honest,
Easter egg.
honestly, wouldn't have noticed if you
Oh,
hadn't
I didn't.
mentioned
I
it.
didn't.
I
I didn't
I wouldn't
notice.
have known. I
I
wouldn't
didn't
have
know.
known. I obviously I didn't know Bryce Dallas Howard directed the episode until
Mhm.
you see the credits, and I was like really excited because I'm a huge fan of Bryce Dallas Howard, and I was like, oh my god,
Mhm.
and it's a great episode to have directed.
Yeah. Oh
So
my god, so good.
so I mean, obviously throwing little Easter eggs are fantastic, and that scene was very well done. I
Yeah, and
also
hilarious.
it was great because it's like, oh, he's totally pulling it off.
And then
And then
We just started laughing. It was like massive fail. It's like you're
and then
trying.
dun-dun.
I know.
Title card.
Well, and then I love how the planet looks like this just, repurposed
Mhm.
Empire technology to like a fishing planet, basically, because you have the
Yeah.
crane that looks like an AT-AT
Yeah.
repurposed for the
So good.
purpose. It was great. I mean, I'm pretty sure throughout all the wars, a lot of, Empire scrap was found in a lot of
Yeah.
planets, not just Jakku, which we
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
them going into like the Imperial fighters and everything and finding
Mhm.
scrap. But this one is like, actively repurposing them, it looks
Yeah.
like. So it has a really cool look to it,
Aesthetic,
harking
yeah.
back to like the original trilogy. And then obviously we go back to Frog Lady and how beautiful the reunion is, and
But can
and
we
then
talk about the Mon Calamari that like welcomes Jin at the port? How
Yeah.
awesome was his sweater?
yeah.
I was like, that knitted sweater is like that's there has to be a direct homage to all the knitted sweaters from Knives Out because it was like it was too good. It was too good. I'm like, what? I've never seen a knitted sweater in Star Wars, and the fact that a Mon Calamari
And Mon
fish
Calamari
is
is
just wearing it, I was like, okay, this is some great costuming.
Well, at the
I
setting of
haven't
everything.
even noticed that. But yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't even noticed that. So, I mean, and then obviously we end at a diner again, to look for
usual.
more information. Of course, that's how it happens. Can we talk a little bit about Baby Yoda fighting with his food?
It's so good, and like someone pointed out, I hadn't seen it until like I saw someone mention it that like the way the fish attacks, the fish or the slug or the octopi or whatever,
It's like an octopus.
it kind of latches onto
Yeah.
his face, kind of like
So
it's
alien.
apparently kind of like the face huggers from
So
Alien,
alien.
which is kind of keeping through the theme from the
It
previous
kept the
episode with
theme.
the eggs. I was
Mhm.
like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was necessarily intentional, but it's a carryover. I'll buy it.
And it looks
I
cool
like it.
and it's awesome. And
And
I love
Mando's
how
just like,
Jin.
stop playing with your food.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Baby Yoda's like choking, and it's like, dude, you play with your food all the time. How are you not taking control of the situation? And Jin is just like not even helping him. It's like, don't play with your food.
Play with
Like,
food.
deal with it.
Well, but I think it's interesting for Baby Yoda's development because he
Mhm.
always eats creatures that are helpless,
Yeah.
and now all the creatures in this episode that
yeah.
he could
Are
eat
attacking,
are actually
yeah.
attacking him, and he's kind of afraid. Which we
Mm.
see then when he's with Frog Lady and Frogman, he starts to understand and learn the value of
Of the
those
eggs.
creatures with
Yeah.
the little tadpole.
And he
So
starts
I
actually
think-
playing with the tadpole,
Yeah.
and because I was very afraid when Jin left him
but-
alone with them. I was like, please,
Yes.
please, Baby Yoda, please be done. Like, we
uh,
get it. It was cute. You were hungry. I hope you start to learn the value of this now. So
Mhm.
please stop. And we can tell that he did, and he was actually like playing and kind of
And he wants a
friends
son
with
now.
it. No, and
No,
kind of
but-
made friends with the tadpole, because when Jin takes him away, he's like, it's
I
not
have
that
enough
hungry
pets."
look that I have to eat it, but it's like this. But I has a friend in my hand. Why are
I
you
can
taking
have-
me
I
away
can
from
have
my
a friend.
friend?
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah, that Jin says, I have enough pets.
Or he wants it
But,
to
I-
be
but I
his
feel
son.
like
So
It could be. Who knows?
true. But I felt like Dan or Jen should have said like, look, keep an eye on Baby Yoda. Like,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't have said like, Baby
He
Yoda
ate
it's
your eggs.
everything. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
have thrown Baby Yoda under the bus because
Mhm.
it'll
Yeah,
be
'cause
my
you gotta
child.
protect
I
it,
would be
yeah.
like, but I'll be like,
My child
Keep
is
an-
very hungry. Just keep him.
yeah, my child eats
you
everything.
get in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like keep an eye on like.
Yeah. Because I was
Like, I
very
feel
afraid
like-
when they left him alone. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
I was like,
no.
no, this is worse. Like, which is interesting.
I'm
because,
very
like,
happy.
On every other scene, Mando doesn't give a bad sigh about taking Baby Yoda along the ride.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So maybe that could be like that softening of like, wait,
Exactly.
I am a parent,
And that protectiveness.
I have
and
to
that.
protect the.
Mhm.
Which I think is this is a good point that you're bringing it up because I think that's why he does what he does because when he goes into the ship, which again, going back to like thing we like to do about mythical aspect, but it's like, Odysseus on the ship going through the waters and whatnot. But I think the reason that Din got in trouble in the ship was because he wanted to see violence, and him promoting the child looking at violence got the child in the mouth of the creature. So he's starting to see that, oh,
Okay.
me
So you're
me
tracking.
indulging in violence and
Mhm.
letting the child indulge in that violence that I want to observe is harmful for him. So I need
Okay.
to start getting myself out of it. And his
Yeah.
rebirth through the water and Bo-Katan, spoiler alert,
Wait, stop.
shows
You're
up.
getting ahead of yourself. Stop getting ahead of yourself. Let's go back to like getting on the ship to begin with. And we're talking
Mhm.
about the water ship because for a little second, I thought you were talking about the spaceship at the end.
Oh, yeah.
'cause that's when he leaves.
I was the first second. Like,
Yeah, because that's when he actually leaves Baby Yoda behind.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like when they go on the water ship. I remember from the beginning, I was like, "Don't trust this person. This is a
Well,
trap card right here from the
Because
beginning."
it's the Quarren, and you know that the Quarrens are
The Quarrens,
enemies.
yeah. I mean, not all the time. Some of them find peace with the Republic.
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything,
but
so-
like that's how they're framed, like in Clone Wars. It's just,
I
like,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
Problematic,
So-
but
so-
like,
so- so you
but
saw
that's
it
why you're
coming?
supposed to suspect. What?
I
Like,
saw something you didn't.
I was like,
No, me
this
and
is
Wally
weird.
the whole time were like suspicious.
I was suspicious. I didn't know that was gonna happen, but I was like,
No,
well,
I didn't
because-
know it was gonna be as bad as that and that immediate. I thought they were leading them into danger. Like
Mhm,
wherever their destination was gonna be a
Yes.
trap. I didn't necessarily
that the journey
knew it
a
was
trap.
gonna be that immediate.
Exactly.
But as soon as he started talking about, oh, do you want to see how this thing is fed? Like it felt very like Jurassic Park, feeding of the T-Rex, but I'm gonna push you in, maybe. I didn't
Mhm.
it was way better done than I thought it was gonna be because it was
Yeah.
very surprising when he actually pushes him in, cradle and all.
Yeah.
And I think it was really, I mean, you can already see that Baby Yoda's instincts are very good because he closed the
Mhm.
crap out of his, cradle immediately without anything.
Yes.
And you can really start to see way more attachment from Jin because I think otherwise he would have tried to defeat like the enemies before. I don't think he would have fell that easily into just immediately jumping after him. That was a very parental reaction.
Yes.
To just
Exactly.
see him going and then jumping right
Jumping
in
right- yep.
without even hesitating.
Thinking, yeah.
And then obviously what you were starting to talk to about, Goose, it's like, and then he realized his mistake and he's like rebirthed in water. Like he's trapped in a cage, but trying to breathe and stuck. And it all started from what you were saying before, Goose, that it was all about showing the kid some violence. Because it's like, oh, look at this. Weren't you be curious? Like, and I think Jin, because he grew up in a very violent environment, maybe he thinks that by showing the child violence, he'll make him better prepared for the world.
Or he just doesn't think twice about it. It's just like violence is natural.
It's fine. Let's see
there
it.
it is.
Oh, it's curiosity. Let's go. And then that's what gets him in trouble right here, just by being like, oh, he's in the cradle. He's super powered. He's going to be fine. We can see something creepy eating something else.
Yes.
And it backfired completely.
Exactly. Because he's
It's
always
interesting, like-
been in violent situations without consequences. And this is the first time that indulging in violence actually leads to like a direct problem and consequence of it.
Yeah.
And he has to deal with it. There's a reckoning.
And he freaks out. He jumps in like there's no tomorrow and then finds himself trapped and drowning. And then we see 3 Mandalorians
And
landing on this ship. And then obviously I haven't gone through all of Clone Wars, so I can't be the best judge of all of this. But I have heard stories about Bo-Katan. And she is referred as the glorious redhead everywhere that I have listened.
Glorious redhead.
The glorious redhead. And then as soon as they land, my husband starts screaming at the TV. I recognize that armor. I know that armor. I know what that is. And I go to him and I was like, Bo-Katan. He's like, I'm not saying shit. You wait and see.
It was so good. So well framed.
And then, and obviously she saves him and then doesn't hesitate to go save the child. As soon as he says the child is down there, it's like, hold, I got him. Goes get the child. And then we've talked about this before because we know that Bo-Katan as well as other Mandalorians take off their helmets. And we have talked about how Jin would react to seeing other Mandalorians take off
Hmm.
their helmets, and then that's one of the first things that Bo-Katan does.
Hmm.
She removes the helmet, and immediate reaction is denial. You know?
Yeah, where did you got that?
Yeah.
Like
Where,
it's the same reaction that he
where'd you
had on
get
the
that
first
armor?
episode. Where do you get that armor?
Yeah.
It's the same thing
And
with Cobb Vanth.
which is interesting. I think we touched on a point. I think on our first episodes we were like, is Mando's story going to be the opposite? Is this a somebody that's close-minded and how they
Hmm.
open themselves up? And it's turning out to be that way in a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Like
Yeah.
Din is a product of
Is indoctrination
greed, of
because
indoctrination. Yeah,
we realized that he's part of a religious cult.
yeah. But it's interesting that the writing on the wall was always been there.
Yes.
Like since the beginning. Oh, only one can come out at the time. Like keeping this secrecy. And
Mhm.
anytime there's always like certain rules to keep certain things in place.
Mhm.
You're already.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. You're part of a cult. Like
Mhm.
it's happening. Like
Hmm.
especially if you deny it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he denies it because he doesn't know. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, can you imagine? I couldn't. If like I was part of like a system that indoctrinated me into something, and that's all I know, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and she's like, everything you've grown up believing is not true. I would also be like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the great things of like the framing of that scene, especially because it's in water.
Mhm.
He's in a ship and he's literally going through traversing unknown waters, as people
Yeah.
say. He's literally there, and the
Yeah.
fact that he goes into the caged part where he's fully submerged is like a baptism in water, as opposed to the baptism in fire that he
Oh,
had
for
with the
sure.
original cult when Death
Mhm.
Watch saved him. Yeah, I think it was. I forget what chapter it was, but like there's a super direct parallel scene of like the Mandalorian extending their hand so that they can save Din from the life that he's currently in. But one, he's in fire and destruction, and this one, he's in water. So he's just like a rebirth and themes about what Mando is going through. And the fact that it's kind of Bo-Katan that then brings him out, I thought it was really interestingly shot because then something that I hadn't put together
Mhm.
when like I had been watching Mando, especially like how he looks, is that Mando's kind of a clean slate right now. Ever since like he got Baby Yoda and he
Mhm.
was able to fully upgrade his armor as opposed
Yeah.
to other Mandalorian armors that we have been watching since Clone Wars. His
With all
armor,
the colors
there's
and
no paint, there's no
yeah.
nothing. He's just a slate of ready to be adorned, right? And he's choosing now a path. So I wouldn't
Mhm.
be surprised in some way if by the end of the season Mando starts painting his armor in some way. But it's
And
also cool that
it
sorry,
has
what were you saying?
no. Going back to that, in this season they do actually make the effort of showing the sigil,
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
the rhino beast.
Mhm.
That
mm-hmm.
forgot the name, but somebody knows the name. But
I'll remember in a
I
couple of minutes.
they've been adamant on this season
The
to
Mudhorn.
yes,
there you go.
they've actually shown the Mudhorn
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
sigil a few times, so I think it lends some credence to that. Like, is Mando gonna start evolving,
Mm-hmm.
and is the armor gonna reflect that evolution? Because it ties into at the beginning also when he got the armor so shiny, but as every episode it's like darker. It's
Yes,
like
yes.
it doesn't have that shine. It gets greedier and grimier
Yeah.
every time he like deals with the beast. It comes out of somewhere.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah, I do love that they keep like the grime on it, because
yeah,
sometimes when you see shows like after something
They clean it up. Yeah.
explosive happens, or even sometimes when they get wet, it's like I have
Yeah.
a perfect blow dried hair and
yeah,
nothing has
Mm-hmm.
happened. But with Mando, he always looks, like disgusting and just
yeah.
like stained, and I think it
Which
adds. Yeah.
I now that you
But
say it, like
uh-huh.
Mando must smell horrible.
Terrible. Yes.
Terrible.
Like
Terrible.
Especially since the ship is all busted. He can't take a shower. It's just horrible.
like I'm sorry, you
'Cause
smell like
First
shit.
he first he was covered in like the crate dragon innards. Then
Yeah.
he's covered in spider jizz
Goo
and
and
web and goo.
yeah.
And who knows how many days they were in that capsule in the cockpit sealed that
Yeah.
they couldn't. Oh my god, horrible, horrible.
So maybe
Ugh.
Mando threw himself to the water. Not, I mean, to get Baby Yoda,
Because
but
the
also like, God damn it,
Get a bath.
to
Yeah, a
get a
little bad.
bath. Like,
God, I hope so.
Let's get a bath. Oh my god. Um, but I think, I mean, obviously when he has that first conversation with Bo-Katan, and then obviously now you know that that's the title is Heiress
Mm,
because
yes.
it's Bo-Katan, which goosebumps.
Yes. Oh my God, so much.
But as soon as he's, so shocked, Bo-Katan looks to her compatriots and it's like, oh, it's the Watch. It's this
Mm,
cult that indoctrinates children. And, they understand it, but they don't really have enough time, obviously, to explain it to him or convince
mm,
him because, he's an indoctrinated child. But just in that one conversation, I think it shattered his entire world
yes.
because he has been, so one-minded about, the way. This is what guides him. And we talked on the last episode that he's starting to see more reasons to live his life with Baby Yoda
Mm,
and with helping other people. And now that, you know, obviously he's not going to accept it, in one episode, but now that
mhm.
he has seen true Mandalorians that live in a different way,
Yeah.
it will probably open him up to more things. So I think I would really like to see him either taking off his helmet, at least to, just Baby Yoda before the end of the season,
Oh,
or
he will.
start to identify himself more. And what you were talking about, the, identifying his armor goes back to the troopers too.
Yes.
Because we've compared before how the stormtroopers are completely serene white, they don't ever do anything, but the clone troopers, who are supposed to be the same person,
Mhm.
when they start bonding with their generals and their brothers, they start to see their own individuality and they do
Mm.
start to paint their armor in different ways and give themselves names and do all these things. So I really hope that Din finds his own identity apart
Mhm.
from just strictly the way.
yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But one thing
yeah,
I want to,
redefining what the way is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but I think one thing that's interesting about this episode that I I didn't see in the others, and just because I was watching with my sibling, he was like to him, I was like, who the hell is this person? Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't seen Clone
Men's,
Wars,
men,
Yeah.
which is something that parts from the Mandalorian, which for the
Mm.
most part has been its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and now we're kind of seeing like Filoni verse getting together,
Yeah.
and
The
and and and, and,
Filoniverse.
and it kind of, when I saw it, I was like, oh, now it makes sense why John Favreau is also there,
Mm.
because Favreau, as he built the Marvel verse,
Mhm.
he's helping Filoni get there as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where we're
Well, he
Tying
also
that.
played a Mandalorian too, like
Yeah.
during in Clone Wars. So
Mm-hmm.
he's invested already, like
Well,
in that
yeah, he's already invested.
Mandalorian culture.
Yeah, no, but it's
But
very
not, but for
cool.
Lucasfilm's eyes, and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's
Yeah.
make more money. Let's tie a whole
Yeah.
this all together.
Synergy.
Synergy. So that, well, but I don't know if it's a good thing, because it also
I agree.
excludes it honestly, the story, the way it's going, I'm like, ooh, excited. Like Ahsoka, we're getting
Mm-hmm.
the Heiress, we're getting all of this that we've known. But now I'm like, but like to take for example, like my mom, like she never, she's seen some Star Wars and she loves
Mhm.
Mando, but it's not like, but I should probably loved it because it's something different. It's something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
had it, and but
Hmm.
tying it so in such a very powerful way
Mhm.
to the Clone Wars and Rebel stories we've had,
Mhm.
I don't know if it will be a disservice for Mando
Actually, I
eventually.
think the way they're doing it is the right way.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll
Mhm.
see eventually
Yeah.
how it ends up. But I think it's the right way to do it because even though for us it's a super big deal because we know
Mhm.
that story,
Yeah.
these characters or side characters are not taking over the story.
Yeah.
And they're not banking on like people actually knowing them because Bo-Katan and Cobb Vanth fans knew where they were because they're fans, but the way they're introduced is kind of organic to the story and not integral to. Well, they are integral, but they're not superseding Mando's main journey.
Mhm.
Like, because Bo-Katan's not going to be in
Well,
the next episode,
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, we'll see.
and they kind of explain who they are, so it's kind of like, okay, you haven't seen it. Here's who they are, and here's how I tie whatever into the main story because she explains, oh, I'm the heiress, I need the dark saber, blah blah
Mhm.
blah, and keep going. You don't
And
lose a beat.
yeah, and I think it works even better because even if you don't know who these characters are, they're still playing their role. Like you don't
Mm,
need to know who Bo-Katan is, but you can still see the impact that it has on Mando. Mando doesn't know who she
mm,
is. It doesn't
exactly.
matter that you're a huge fan and just see an extra meaning to it. You know, as a viewer of The Mandalorian, you can just be like him. Like, who is this
Like him,
person?
exactly.
Why is
Yeah.
she taking off her helmet? What is happening? There's a different way. And then if you start
Yes.
looking into it, you can actually find that Bo-Katan is another character and it might drive other viewers to watch
Mhm. Yes,
Clone Wars
agreed.
and Rebels and everything. So I actually think it's very well done the way they're doing it because they're not giving them over importance and they're not giving them a reason to be there without you knowing their backstory. Like you can still understand why that character is there without knowing who they are at the core.
Mhm.
And you
Totally
had
agree.
already uh, seen the dark saber at the end of the first season of Mandalorian. So you immediately know what she's asking about, even if you haven't watched it, which I haven't. But I knew immediately that she was. Where is it? It's the dark saber,
Mm.
You see, I
and
didn't even make that connection, and I was like,
that she was asking
"Where
for
is
the
it?"
dark
Yeah,
saber.
I now this is the first time I'm thinking, "Oh, this Darcy." Like,
Yeah,
and I know the backstory. Like, I don't think it was well.
Mm.
In that sense, it was just a little bit banking on your knowledge as a fan.
Well, no, but she says it though. She when she's with the imperial officer and like trying to get the
Mhm.
information. Well, first before that, she actually tells Din, she's like, "Oh, they have something I need if I'm to rule Mandalore,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna get it." And then when she's with the imperial officer, she tells him like, "Where's the dark saber?
Mhm.
Blah blah blah. Blah, I need it." And so like they, you know, again, that's what I like about Mando. It's like with very few elements, they get a lot of points
Yeah.
across. They don't have to
Mhm.
be super they don't have to waste so much time on exposition. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
here the dialogue. We're gonna put like these pieces of information that you need to keep going. That's
Yeah,
all you need.
Yeah.
Let's go.
let's
Bo-Katan,
go.
she's gonna be the ruler of Mandalore, and she needs that dark saber. And the dark saber
Yeah.
has is Moff Gideon. That's all you need to know. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
It's,
And
that's
no,
why I
and I
like the
love that.
episode.
And I love that immediately. Like he asked that he's been tasked with taking Baby Yoda to the Jedi, and she's immediately like, "Do you know anything about
Mm,
the Jedi?" And he's just like, "No."
nothing. Yeah.
And she just looks at her compatriots like, okay. And then she drops the, if you do this for me, I will take you to one of their kind.
To what? Oh
Like,
my god! The
yeah,
minute she said that,
one
I'm
of
like,
their
oh,
kind.
they're
And I was
doing
like,
it.
oh, let it be Ahsoka, please. And I looked
I
at
did
my
not
husband.
expect. Yeah, I
I
did not
didn't I
expect
didn't
it.
think they were gonna say her name. I just
No, neither
know
did
when
I.
she said one of their kind. I looked to my husband. I was like, Ahsoka, and he was just like, I don't know what's happening. It's like
I
I don't
thought,
want to get
yeah,
my hopes up.
I thought they would do something very indirect and be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, go to this place
uh-huh. Yeah,
and she'll find you,"
yeah.
and
But then when
without
she
the
actually
name.
says, "Go here and find Ahsoka Tano," I was just
Oh
like
yeah,
goosebumps all over my body.
yes.
So excited. I mean, we have yet to see how they do her, so we don't know. But how exciting was it to just hear the name?
Well, which is one of the theories, because a lot of people are saying that's going to be next episode. But
But it could be.
the
Hmm.
theory now is that it's the one after that because
Hmm.
it's the one Filoni wrote and directed,
Oh. And I
which
would
makes
feel
sense
like
because Ahsoka's
Filoni,
like his baby,
Ahsoka. Hmm.
Or it could be Mando finds Ahsoka right at the end of the episode,
Yeah,
and then
like a Boba
Yeah,
Fett
yeah,
situation,
yeah,
and
and
then
then the
the
Filoni episode is
episode
like
is
the
the one
fleshed
with
out one.
yeah,
yes.
yeah. But
But that's interesting. Let's see what happens.
yeah,
This could either make it or break it.
yeah, this yeah,
Like it could. I think it has the
I
possibility of
agree.
breaking.
How Ahsoka is
Yeah,
portrayed is gonna make or break the
Yeah,
season of Mando. Honestly.
because it's one of those things that like you
especially
don't know
since
how it's gonna
episode 4 is
translate.
the middle.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't know how it's gonna translate
To live
from animation
action.
to live action. I
Hmm.
Bo-Katan was perfect, but
Yeah,
Bo-Katan is not some weird alien,
But
and
yeah,
to be able
and,
to
and even
transcend
even if it was
everyone's
perfect, yeah,
expectations. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
like Bo-Katan isn't as a big of a character as Ahsoka is
yes, exactly.
by far.
hmm
Like uh, we probably like the people that will get offended by how Bo-Katan came up versus the
Hmm.
people that will get
the amount of
pissed
people.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
when they had the service for Ahsoka will be
yeah.
completely different.
Well, and then
yes.
Katie Sackhoff has, been in sci-fi for a long time. So
And
we
she was
know
already
her
and she was already
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah, and she was already Bo-Katan. So it's different to have Rosario Dawson, who I don't think has ever been in sci-fi to begin with.
So
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, she was in Daredevil.
That's not sci-fi, that's fantasy and superheroes. It's not the same as
Sci-fi.
being no.
She was in the Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
Random tidbit.
I'm going through my
And that is in
library of movies
space.
here. It's in space. Yeah. It's a terrible movie, but it's in space.
Okay. Then
Rosario Dawson has been in so much stuff though.
I know.
Like every time, like I see like
But-
clips of some old movie that I didn't even know she was in. She pops up all the time. Like, holy crap!
But my question is,
Prolific,
was she ever confirmed as Ahsoka, or was that like
Oh, this is still alleged.
It's still, we will not know until it actually happens, but I'm pretty sure
It's
it's
one of
gonna
those.
be.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those
But-
alleged confirmed things.
But imagine if it ends up being that she's another from the same Tortuga species that.
Togruta, yeah.
And she
Tortuga-
isn't actually Ahsoka.
and she isn't actually Ahsoka.
It's a fake Ahsoka.
It's a fake Ahsoka.
Plot twist.
I don't know. Or it could be Ahsoka found a friend.
A lady friend.
And then we see Ashley Exton coming back as Ahsoka.
Don't give me hope. Don't give me
I'm
hope
saying-
like
I'm
that.
saying-
Don't give me.
I was
Don't.
gonna be exactly Hawkeye. Don't do that. Don't give me hope.
I don't need that hope in my life and then
If
to
it,
have
ha-
it
if it
denied.
happens, I'm gonna call it. It might happen. If it hasn't been confirmed, it might
I
happen.
think Mo's being too cruel right now to our hearts, to our tender.
I'm going
Ahsoka
to,
heart.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to ignore that theory because it's
Yeah,
just,
I'm
it's
just not
be
gonna accept
crushing
it.
if it's not
Yep.
true.
Mm-hmm.
But I
let's-
like it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I like the red herring. Yes,
Yes.
It will be
So-
amazing red herring. Like it
I
will
know.
make perfect sense.
that would be epic. How secret? Oh my god, that's no.
because that
I don't
because
believe
that
it. No, I don't
that-
believe it.
No, stop right now.
Stop.
Let's no
Shut
stop.
your face. Shut your face.
So anyway, so let's go back to like when they actually go into the ship and you see everybody wearing like Imperial uniforms.
Awesome.
How cool it was to see that still. And I was still asking, like, is this supposed to be the First Order already, or are we still the Empire? Like, what's happening? And then they're like, long live the Empire. So it's just like grabbing all these remnants still, which was, I think, really well done because we're starting to really see that transition for the first time between the Empire and the First Order. So
which is cool.
know.
We saw in the episode before the
No
New
Goose?
Republic,
no.
and now we're seeing the transition.
Because the First Order is in the I don't want to be the but actually, but actually, the First Order is in the unknown region. So the remnants of the Empire and the First Order separate.
Are separate. Okay.
At least
Well,
right now.
okay. Then I like knowing that. So you don't just have to like shake your head there like by yourself in the corner.
I don't want
You
to
can-
ruin your thing.
No, you can let me know I'm wrong. That's that's the point of these discussions.
It's part of the process.
Yes, you need to tell me when I'm wrong as well. So thanks, because I have always had that doubt in my head about what's going on in the transition. So yes,
Well,
correct me.
Although there's one of the things that has been said about the show when it was gonna come out was that we would see though the seeds of how the First Order started.
Okay,
So it's something that they're allegedly supposed to
okay.
build up, but as of yet,
Yeah.
yet to be seen.
Well, I
It's
mean,
very
you're
sporadic as of yet. We
Yeah.
see someone
TBD,
looking for
yeah.
a force sensitive
Yeah.
thing.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And then we see now the remnants of the empire. Like
Yeah.
what do we do next? But
Mhm.
let's keep the empire because
Yeah. And you can see that they're, scavenging weapons and everything. Like they know they're going to do
Mhm.
something, beyond this. So they're trying to,
Yes. So it
so-
might eventually be that.
yeah,
Yes, not yet.
just, okay.
As far as we know.
not yet.
Yes,
As far
that's
as we know.
fine.
Well,
The
don't
limits of
even-
knowledge.
knowledge. We don't even know how long Manda's gonna be. Like, is it gonna be a 3-season, 5, 10?
We don't know yet. They already
don't know.
confirmed season 3,
Yeah.
but we don't know how long it will be.
Mhm.
Which is good.
It shouldn't
let's
be.
keep
It
the
shouldn't be
mystery.
4 though.
Well, I think it depends on
It
where the
should have a
story's going to
logical
go.
conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should. Well, or no, or it should just lead straight to
Mhm.
the Force Awakens.
I mean, I kind of like this thing of like having series know where they're going, so they have the game
Yeah.
plan, and then be able to end it well.
Yeah.
Instead of just like Game of Throning it and just keep
Oh.
going, and then kind of okay, now we're gonna stop.
Don't make me
So like
Game of Thrones rant.
No, maybe in a separate episode. But I do like the idea of like ending it sooner rather than
Yeah, because
end on a high
definitely.
note, finish the story.
Oh no, definitely. There's a lot of series that just because they're still making money, don't realize that the entertainment value has already left,
Mhm.
and then you kind of
Yeah.
see them, drag it on way longer than it should be,
Deteriorate.
and then the ending makes no sense. So I am a huge fan of knowing like this is where I want it to go. I have a logical conclusion to this, and then write a series finale that is worthwhile, and then
Mhm.
you can go out to another project. Like just because you end one
then
project.
I guess that's a good we'll have to see, because if they're
Mhm.
planning on opening kind of like that Filoniverse,
Mhm.
then they have to tie in Rebels, and then next is like what happens with Resistance? How do we get there?
Mhm.
Because it's also a series that happens sort of in this 30-year time frame.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So there's a lot of things that they can do.
there's a lot of things they can
Mhm.
do. There's also a lot of things they should explore, and I hope they do explore.
Mhm.
Because like you said, like how did the First Order came from the remnants of the Empire? How does the New Republic make any
Function.
sense over Resistance? Like
Yeah.
like all of these things we're still up in the air,
Which Mando can answer
and Mando can answer.
tangentially.
Or
though. I don't want it to be like, okay, here it is.
or tangentially.
No, and which is how they have been doing it so far. I mean,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
far we haven't gotten a lot of answers to like really big questions, but we're starting to get some answers into some smaller questions already.
Yes.
So
But for a reaction video, I think we've
I think
talked a
we're
lot about the
good.
episode.
Yeah.
Do we have like, any
Oh,
final?
I have one hot take.
There we
Okay.
go.
I believe this is a short episode because Baby Yoda scenes were cut away.
Interesting.
Just
What makes you say? Do you think
I-
because of the online
I
backlash with
I
the
think there
egg
was
eating?
a lot of backlash with the
With the eggs.
X.
Okay.
It's a backlash I'm sure none of them were expecting will happen.
As extreme as it was, I don't think.
As extreme
Yeah.
as it happened.
Yeah. I agree.
And then because all of a sudden we had, like a 50 something minute episode or 40 something minute episode, and then we have a 35 minutes episode.
Yeah.
Where every scene after Baby Yoda, it just cuts off and it's a brand new scene. I don't know. Just throwing it out there for the listeners.
For commentary
there might be
Possible.
there might be caught Baby Yoda scenes out there. Just saying. And one of the
Controversial Baby Yoda scene.
and one of the like concept arts had Baby Yoda in it. Then we never saw that. Usually when there's a concept art, it reflects the scene that happened, and this scene was not there at all.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories.
It's just throwing the nuggets as conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you do what you want.
I clean my hands.
Yeah. Think about it, discuss. Leave us a comment.
That's a great way, exactly, to finish and sign off.
Yeah, that's a way to go, definitely. I mean, and so other than that, do you think you'd want anything else to know? Talk about the episode?
I think we covered pretty much.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
We don't want to. I don't think we want to extend ourselves too much with these. So I think we're good.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Thank you for listening. If you disagree with us, do tell us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Constructively.
So anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, share, leave us a review, comment. I mean, conversation is very important. Everybody has different point of views. But on that note, we love everybody. Thank you for following us, and may the force be with you.